Welcome back to the Mind of Cy Marie. It is Wednesday, October the 1st, and I am so happy to be celebrating the official start of Halloween month. Tonight we're talking about the guise of debate, badgers, bullies, and the wisdom of refusal. So, tonight, first of all, we need to talk about the archetype of the badger. So, what exactly does it mean to be a badger? Well, don't you think we should probably look that one up? To be a badger is to persistently pester or annoy someone until you either steamroll their point out of the debate or you basically get the upper hand and get what you want. A badger is known for the determined nature of persistence and traits that give them relentless pursuit. So repeatedly badgering someone and pestering them about a topic or a situation and having a very aggressive, egocentric nature and personality as you're doing so that you can dominate the conversation can give this presentation that that person is winning the debate when in fact what they're doing is they're steamrolling and they are sort of stonewalling at the same time. And because they talk a lot, it seems like they're saying something because the loudest person in the room is the one who usually draws the most attention. So it's really a psychological thing in a way. So it's really important to think about that. And there are figures who use repetition, deflection, and straw man tactics to exhaust rather than enlighten. They are not just persistent, but they're predatory. And so then they have this thing where they come out with this illusion of open dialogue, which is actually just a trap for distortion. And so then they have this get you to come to the table under the guise of this agreed structure is going to happen when in reality they already know because of their personality type and the manipulative structure of what they're doing that you're going to be like, oh, it's just open dialogue. It's a conversation. We're going to come together. We're going to discuss. We're going to resolve when in fact no resolution is actually found. And then you have yourself brought into this table argument that gets the narratives twisted and blown out of proportion, completely distorted, and all of a sudden everything that you thought was going to happen is the exact opposite, and the things that you were there to do are now being used as tools and weapons against you and the very thing that you were there to be arguing in favor of. And so it's really important to talk about developmental exploitation. And I think it's really important that we highlight why targeting college students under the age of 25 is very strategic, not because they're wrong, but because they are still young and they are still forming and their brains are still developing. And it is really an ethical breach of a person in their 30s to want to debate a young person because it's a way to circumvent the education that they have not yet received. And so they're not completely at the same maturity level as that older person who's already had other experiences. And so this is a difference between responsible mentorship and taking advantage of youth and manipulating. That brings me to boundaries versus blocking. So, boundaring up is a proactive stance. It's a filter and it's a refusal to dilute. It is incredibly important that people learn the difference between boundaring and refusal to completely engage. And boundaries are usually meant in order to keep things moving in a productive way. And usually, when boundaries are set, it's because someone wants there to be a productive relationship shift or there to be an understanding made. So it's telling people these are things I will not accept in my life. And if these things are not okay, or you cannot respect these things, then we cannot safely engage because the things that you're doing make me feel unsafe, or whatever the case may be. Whereas blocking is a reactive final seal. It's a closure. It's when what someone does when they're like, oh, there is no way for me to try to come to the table to resolve. There is no way for me to try to say, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. Can you not do that? And the reason for that usually is because when the person says, hey, this makes me uncomfortable, can you not do that? The receiving party pushes back somehow and thinks that they should still be allowed to behave in that way that the person issuing the boundary does not want to have in their life, which is not okay. So when someone blocks you, this is a reaction. This is a no more. And both situations are valid. Both are sovereign decrees, but they serve a different role in protecting a person. They serve a different role in the connections to the greater collective. So, excuse me, when you feel the need to lay down a boundary, this is you saying, hey, and offering an opportunity for the person to try to work with you and show that they respect you and that they're going to treat you with courtesy and try to work through that situation. When you throw out a block, you've already realized that there is no way that that can possibly happen. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're just completely just disengaging and negating anything that those people might have had to say, because they can still say those things. What it means is that they don't necessarily need to have the access to say them to you. And not everyone is supposed to be a debater, and not everyone needs to be able to come to the tables for those situations. Communication is key and it is very important, but people seem to be failing to understand and thinking that they're entitled to that. Everyone doesn't have to debate with you. If you see someone post something in social media and you don't agree with it, that doesn't mean every single time you need to be letting that person know why you don't agree with it and then thinking that you should be coming in and saying, well, I want you to do this. You need to come to the table and debate with me about this. You need to show me your proof of this. You need to give me your citations and your resources. No, I don't. I don't. And I don't owe you an explanation for that. And that doesn't mean that I'm living in an echo chamber either, because I might very well go and listen to other opinions that are done respectfully, that are not badgering, that are not stonewalling, that are not steamrolling and disrespectful. And that is something people really need to understand. And it is really important that we learn how to discern when someone is engaging in good faith versus trying to twist the narrative. There are red flags to look for: ad hominem, strawman, tone policing, fake equivalence. And refusal to engage isn't just stubbornness. It doesn't just mean that you're just going, oh, well, screw you all. It's strategic clarity. It's knowing that someone's energy and what they're doing in their life does not always have to be drawn into a debate or discourse. And some people do not want to do that. And we must understand, if someone says, I don't want to debate, I do not want to engage this discourse, that to start trying to negate and bully them and say, oh, well, you're just blocking me because you can't argue, actually makes you a bully and a badger. Why don't you actually try respectfully discoursing and having these debates? If you want to see someone engage you in a conversation about something that's an opposing viewpoint, you need to first show that you know what courtesy and respect are. Because if you want them to give you that courtesy and respect to sit there and listen to you, to engage and interact with you and that conversation, they should be getting the same kind of energy back. It's reciprocal here. And so when you see people are badgering and being bullies, or they're going after particular audiences that you know are young and have not had the life experiences that they have had, it is not equal. It's not equivalent. It's not fair. It's not balanced, as Fox News likes to say, which is ironic, isn't it? So you see, refusal to engage is not just stubbornness. It's not always holding a grudge. It truly is strategy. It's clarity. So if someone comes to you, you really have to decide to choose your battles wisely. If someone says they think the fucking sky is orange, excuse my language, then I guess, okay, the sky is orange. I'm not going to debate with you every reason why I know it's not. You've already made your decision. All you want to do at this point is just argue about being right and try to use anything said to make your point the standing, lasting one. So people need to learn the power of walking away without performance, the wisdom of not debating with fascists, bigots, and manipulators, because that shouldn't be your battleground. That's just a distraction. We got bigger things going on right now, and the ones that are already made it clear that they are a fascist, they are not going to change. What is the point of going and trying to discourse with people that you know are intent on misunderstanding everything you're trying to do from the moment you step foot in the door? There isn't. And see, what they're actually trying to do is get you to be pulled into that table so they can make a spectacle of things and make themselves bigger and feed off of that energy, because that's what narcissistic people do. They need a clown to make a fool of, and they don't like it when it's themselves. So please let this be a lesson to you all listening. We all have to really look at how we engage with things and decide for ourselves, is this actually making a difference in the way that I want it to? Or is this just a distraction from the real good fight I'm trying to progress toward and through? And if you find that it's the latter, don't engage with it, because you're not going to change their minds. All that's going to happen is that us versus them, you're right, they're wrong, and there will be no resolution found, which is what we have repeatedly seen in the last 10 years. We must start taking accountability for ourselves. We must start looking at our larger community and asking ourselves, what is it that I'm not seeing? What is it that these voices that are loud and boisterous, that are getting all the attention, are distracting me from, that's happening on the sidelines? Because that's where the marginalization's happening. Stop listening to the loudest voices in the rooms. Stop giving all of your energy to them, because they are energy vampires and they're thriving off of it. The saying is, where energy goes, or where focus goes, energy flows. And so with this, I leave you all. Be wise. Discern. Sometimes understand that, yes, you do have to breathe. You have to take a moment to be still. You have to recoup. You have to re-strategize. You can't always be loud and screaming, because your voice will give out. And that's what they're counting on. So in the moments where you don't know what to do, or in the moments where you're not sure if you should engage that debate, don't do it. Go find your center clarity, recharge, and take the time to be tactical in your approaches. Because we are all in this together, but we're all also individually responsible for our own output and outcomes. And that looks different for each person. We all have different emotional needs and aptitudes. And everybody needs a moment of reflection. And yeah, I know it's a war zone out there, as they say. Not in Portland, by the way. But even as these things are happening, if we all just continually scream until our voices give out and we have no breaths left, we don't take the time to recoup, we will lose our resiliency and we will lose the fight. Because that's what they're counting on. Grinding us down, making us engage, trying to make us feel humiliated and like we don't have the courage to debate them about things that they don't care to change anyways. They just want to make a mockery of everything. They just want to make a spectacle. They just want great theater. Don't allow yourself to be a prop in their game. Because yes, as Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage, and all the men and women truly are merely players. But I have a quote, and I actually have this in my Printify shop if you guys are interested in my Infinity Creations Printify shop. I have a quote, And I have over 320 products there, you guys. So, I mean, I have some really cool stuff if you want to check it out. It's Infinity, that's INFINITYXCREATIONS that's PRINTIFY.me / so it's infinityxcreations.printify.me. And back to the thing that my quote says is, all the world's a stage, they say. All the world is a stage, they say. How about us players make it a phenomenal act? By Marie. And you can find that on tank tops and t-shirts at Infinity Creation Store, like I just said. And I actually have a 50% off everything in the store right now for spooky season that is through October the 15th. So if you're interested, go ahead and check out what I got in the store there and keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the world is a stage. How about all of us players make it a phenomenal act?